All right, guys, welcome back, and thank you again so much for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast. Now, just before we went on our commercial break, Chad was telling us about a dog that you're dealing with, that you've been collaborating with Jonas and asking for a bit of help, and so I just wanted to kind of give that right back to you. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even ask for any, and so with that said, he just saw something, and, speaking of like building rapport with dogs and relationship stuff, like him and I have been building rapport for months now. And so he kind of felt comfortable enough to kind of like, chiming in there on what he saw that I had posted on my story. And after he said his piece, he was just respectful about the approach and didn't make me feel like, I was this guy that didn't know what I was doing, but had sort of a different vantage point that he thought maybe could help me. And because it was him, and because I have such a respect for him and his craft, I accepted it in a way that I probably wouldn't have accepted it from somebody else, like that didn't have as much experience or whatever. It's like that meme, like somebody tries to give you advice and then the meme it says, "I know more than you." Like, no, but not Jonas. He totally kind of like sparked my interest, and so we've just been going back and forth on this. And I'm supposed to actually be speaking to him later tonight or tomorrow morning because I sent that dog home because I didn't know the severity of the situation and I wanted to regroup. I knew that the board and train option straight away wasn't the healthy route for this specific dog. Right. It was kind of like
too attached or something.
It was just too unbalanced and not ready to be away from the owner just yet. And so basically Jonas and I, we talked and he said that it would probably, and I was like, I knew it wasn't what I was doing wasn't it. But when Jonas came in and sort of solidified, let's use the owner to sort of bridge the gap and sort of like take some of that off and then maybe revisit a board and train. So, so it's a really empowering and validating and valuable for him to kind of to give me that. He didn't have to, and he's not the guy that wants to fucking be right for the sake of being right. Like he's truly a dude that wants to help people. And like time and time again, he's just surprised me with that. Like, I once got stiffed for a couple grand from on a case that I did for a celebrity, and the guy just stiffed me and made an excuse as to why he stiffed me. And Jonas, I made a post talking about how bummed out I am, not so much because I was out the money, but because I actually poured my heart into that case, and I did a really good job.
You worked really hard and get fucked,
And then I mentioned something the reason why Jonas got involved in this just kind of shows his heart is because I mentioned something like this dude took a couple grand off my daughter's plate because I work for my daughter. I work, right. Like everything I do, and like that guy took 2 G's away from my kid right there, basically. And that's how I see it. I don't see it as like 2 G's away from me. And when I said that, he literally donated. I did not ask anybody for any fucking help or nothing like that. It wasn't even about that. But all of a sudden I look at the Venmo and it says from, I didn't even know the name of his actual dog training company, but it pops up as like 911 something or other. $250. He just like gave me $250 because his heart was bleeding for my daughter, bro. And same thing with John Gata. My daughter got sick with a bone infection, and he sends over like literally way too much ice cream, but he sent over like a bunch of fucking ice cream for my kid, bro. And like, so, and same thing with Russ. Like he sees me post my kid and he just thinks she's the most beautiful thing. And he comments on it. And that is literally my heart right there. And so between those 3 men, there's nothing you could there ain't nobody can slide in my DMs and say any fucking thing about those boys without getting smashed by me. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going to say shit about them. And I really truly feel that they're the same way for me, so it's really good, man. That's all. That's it. I talk a lot.
No, bro, that's why you're here. That's literally what you're here for. Don't worry about it. Like
Jonas
everything
and
you're
John
saying
and them,
is gold.
They're definitely Jonas, John, Russ. Like those guys, we've been lucky enough to be able to meet all 3 of them in person.
That's true. Yeah.
Have you ever had? I mean, I know you have because again I heard you with Russ, but do you remember those feelings of like, there's that moment where you get to meet somebody, and again, forget the popularity, forget all that shit. Just how cool these guys are. Where you're like, oh man, when did I start deserving such nice like friend? Like when did I kind of hit this level? Apparently, I must be doing something right.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I don't even see it like that. Hey, I don't even see myself as anybody like that personally. I don't really feel like I'm like special or anything like that. I don't know. It's weird.
You know, I mean, how do I put, like, just me personally, I'll just say, and I say this to a lot, if not all of our guests, just so we're clear, right? One of my favorite things about you, about Jonas, about Russ, about everybody is, you know, you guys just keep it real. You don't really fuck around. It just doesn't matter. It is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I very much believe in the amount of respect that it takes to be authentic like that. So I don't really believe in fucking around either, right? I just kind of, I tell you guys what I think and everything else. So, you know, so I guess I'm saying that to kind of preface this isn't Ass Kiss. I think you're a special dude. I think people would be lucky to know you, especially with the stories and the mindset. And I think you're going to be a killer fucking dad. Like, I think you're a really good guy to know.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you for that. That means a lot. I've had a lot of people. I think I've let people jade me and shit. You know, I've let I think I am jaded to a degree where, you know, fuck, I've let people affect me in a way, but also, humility is there as well. Believe it or not, I'll be talking my shit. You know, there's definitely a level of humility there.
Talking shit's a sport, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you know, I think there's value in conviction. You know, there's value in conviction, and when you're really truly convicted about something, it comes across that way. If you're not, it also comes across that way, and people. You know, when people are hiring you, man, like they want somebody sure of their shit, you know, they want somebody sure of it, you know, and so, you know, I know the value of it. I definitely know the value of being that way, but also I kind of don't really have that filter to be any other way. You know, like I know there's an objective truth about things. And, Russ and I were actually just talking about this, like all his posts lately, he's like, I'm just triggering everybody, but I'm like, Russ, like, those are just truthful statements. Like, and it's because the truth is ultimately the most painful, you know, it's like the most painful. And so that's it. Like, it's okay for it to hurt. You know, when somebody says a truthful thing and it resonates with you individually, you want to hope that you're the type of person that could be like, fuck that. But then come around later and be like, fuck, you know,
like they had a point or there's something.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you can do that, well, then now you're in a position to actually grow instead of staying in your fucking little deal over here where there's no room for growth because you're not willing to fucking take some of that fucking hard truth off the chin. You know, like I am 100%. Talk to my wife; she'll tell you I'm like very stubborn, but I'll always come back around and be like, "I'm sorry, babe. I fucked up. I was being a fucking dick right there. Like that's on." That's on me right there. I appreciate you saying that about me, Mariano. It makes me feel really nice. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, again, you know, I really think you should write a book. I'm not fucking with you. I'm not kidding. Like, you know, the thing is, Brent and I always get lucky, and I don't know if this is nice to say or mean to say, but I'm just going to tell you is like we kind of look for guests, and we look for all kinds of guests. Like, you know, we were really excited to have you on, and other people, and sometimes just a weird scheduling thing. Like we'll reach out to someone and then we finally, and it's months later and it's not for any other reason than all of us just couldn't quite like button it down.
Coordinate.
But even so, like all the while, I mean, you know, we follow you and then we watch and check, just to keep an eye, just to say hello, like, you know, because the whole point of the podcast and dog training and being online and of all of it is building a community, right?
Yeah.
A network, right? So we can all pull off of each other. But with that being said, you know, meeting you, I mean, it's different than what I expected. I'm just, you know, just to keep it real, but it's awesome. Like, you know, it's great. I mean, not that you put off a persona that's like bad, but it just, you know, meeting you now, I'm like, fuck, why doesn't this dude have like why don't you have like an audiobook or something?
I appreciate that. To be fair, it's something that I would be interested in doing. I think ultimately I have like, I'm one of those guys that has like, I do have a lot on my plate and I take as maximum. I don't take too many dogs, but I just recently got my first employee. So I'm still taking actually the same exact load that I used to, but I have an employee now to kind of take some of the stress off of me. I haven't started taking more dogs or anything like that. Maybe as I scale and get more employees, I might do that. I'm one of those cats with so many ideas and so many goals to smash that like, if I were to like, I want to write a book, that's like on the list of things to do. That is like a great idea, but I just don't execute because I'm like doing this, or this.
Doing other shit. Yeah. Cause you're still operating everything. Yeah. Things don't run without Chad.
When we spoke to Tyler
the dogs, man, me and my homie Jose, we just train the fucking dogs and we're saving and, we're doing good. And we're like, this is strange to say because we've come so far from where we started. I still feel like I'm just getting started, like in some strange capacity. I'm sitting on 5 acres. I have an employee. My wife is
because it's a new chapter. Every chapter is a new chapter, bro.
Exactly. So. And I have all this space and this potential for all these things that I know is going to be amazing. And it's like I really need to hone in and focus on, task completion one thing at a time. But I think at a certain point, and Mariano, maybe I'm still on chapter 11 right now. Maybe or 10, or I feel like maybe I'm still writing my book. I heard somebody say you kind of have to earn a book, and
right.
I know I have a lot to learn still.
What would be the point where you go, all right, I'm done with the one book? Like what would have to happen in your life to be like, I've achieved this, I could write a book now?
To be honest, I could probably write a book on the baseball years. That was 10, 15 years in total of experiences and growth and stories and just wild ass times. It would be a combination of, inspo, just utter comedy, just disbelief, like shit, So I feel like there I've earned that. And like, as far as the dog world and dog training, I'm like 5-6 years in. I still feel like I'm still like in middle of the chapters type of thing.
Right.
But the growth has been significant because of the timing. I think the timing of when I started social media, Instagram was like TikTok, like literally wide open algorithm, like chronological, I gained a lot of followers really quickly without really, no stripes, but a lot of followers. And so I was fortunate to sort of make a name for myself early on with the Instagram. And then I also had things go viral on Facebook. So with the combination of those two things, it was kind of like I had this thing that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't know that it was going to lead to the dog training business, successful and all that shit. Like it was great timing. It was the younger, like marketable, outspoken dude who really resonated with a certain demographic of people. And then, so the timing of it and, the passion, and I'm really into social media. I love it. I'm like, I still post multiple a day, and it's not even for anything other than like, I'm doing something I enjoy doing. I enjoy the analytics. I enjoy seeing what people respond to. I enjoy, resonating with people. I'm really into the community vibe. And I do it in a way strategically to actually find, people are either like, this guy's fucking stupid, I hate him, or they're like, man, I really love this motherfucker. There's like kind of no, if there's a gray area, it's coming from the actual tolerant people in this world, which is kind of few and far in between. There's few people that'll look at my shenanigans that don't agree with it, that still stick around just because they love dogs. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just love those people because I'm like, man, I sure fucking make it hard for you. I know I can't, it can't be easy to stick around, but you do. So like, I really appreciate that. Like, it's kind of shows a bit about like, who they are.
Well,
a lot of people
and to be transparent, right? Like we've known about you for 6 months, you know what I mean? So definitely when we saw you, at first, I get what you're saying, how some people are either for you or against you. And we were that gray area. We were that person who's like, what is he about? We don't know what he's about. So we keep watching and we keep watching. And then we see something we love. And then we see something we're like, for real? And then we see something we love. And then we go, all right, well, I get it. Like we start understanding you through your social media. And because, the whole point of our podcast is to try and understand where people are coming from, trying to understand their stories, because at the end of the day, we're all human And the one thing that brings us all together is our love for helping dogs. You know what I mean?